Hello and welcome to farming. It's not just a garden that we're going to. We're going back in history. I think this tool was made from, well, I don't know. Let's ask my guest. What in the world? This didn't start out as a shovel. What do you guess that used to be, Barney?
Well, that looks like it might come out of an old water heater, don't it?
It sure does. Barney, tell me your last name.
Florer.
Floor, like? Just like the floor.
That's right.
You got another name besides Barney, but nobody seems to know it.
Well, then let's keep it a secret.
Okay. Well, you brought along Peggy Carpenter. Welcome, Peggy.
Thank you.
Thank you for introducing me to the colorful people you know here in the valley. And Barney promises to be all that. How'd you meet Barney?
I don't remember.
Well, I understand that if you drive out Murphy Stage Road, and if you have a keen eye to over to the right, there's a little sign. What's it say?
Don't say anything now.
Well,
yeah, it is. It says 2798.
Okay, we're filming in the winter time, but oh, come springtime. Barney, what are you doing with the shovel and the hoe?
Right now, you're not doing much with them. However, the weeds are still growing.
Why is it that weeds don't seem to take any attention?
I got a big greenhouse, and about every week you got to get down there and trim them off, and that's where that little old narrow hoe does the job.
Oh, Barney was giving me a lesson. I brought my hoe along, and he said, "Oh, that hoe ain't no good." He said, "What you ought to do? Why don't you tell the folk?"
Take your cutting torch and just cut it off right there.
Okay,
why? And bring these corners out a little bit. And when you want to get in by that weed, right by that plant, you can get there. With this thing, you can't do it. Not only that little one will cut your weeds off, and this will just wad them up if you're hoeing.
Okay, folks, aren't you glad you tuned into Journeys and Journals today, because we learned something new about a hoe. I don't have a cutting torch, so there must be some place.
I got one.
Oh, I should bring it by? Send it home with you for a...
If you send it home if the handle's good, you'll never get it back.
Because what do you do with handles?
Break them. You should shellac a handle.
What good would it do shellacking it?
Well, now that one's all right, but if you happen to leave them out in the weather for a while, they get splitters on them. So if you shellac them,
That'll stay. Well, now, Peggy, you know a little bit about hoeing.
Yeah.
How much garden have you done?
Well, Mom had about 2 acres, a 2-acre garden about.
And where was this?
Out at Williams. And my job, I bailed out of bed in the morning, and Ma fed me. And then she told me my brother and I, to go down and weed. That's what we did.
And how'd you weed? With one of these little hand tools?
Oh, no. No, I don't think there was one of those on the place. No, we just bent down on there, started pulling them out.
Pulling them out. Did you have gloves?
Oh, no. Oh. I never have learned to wear gloves. I can't wear them.
Me too.
Yeah, you too?
Yeah.
Well, Barney, I just looked at your nails and I believe you. This guy works hard. How much property do you have there?
I just got an acre there.
Do you have other gardens elsewhere?
No, that's enough.
Well, when you see that little sign, you have to kind of drive down the hill. Last time I was there, he said, "If you want corn, I'll go pick it for you right now."
That's the only way corn's good.
Ooh, and was it good? Well, Barney, what brings you to Southern Oregon, God's country? When did you come here?
44.
Okay.
44.
Were you right out of the military?
They wouldn't take me.
Oh, what's that about? Barney, you're missing more than one finger there.
But
What happened?
well, it's not very good to tell. I
Okay.
working on construction, and I was field mechanic. Well, I was supposed to be the welder, but I was field mechanic too. And one of the cats was pulling we called him a can. There was a big old box behind it, and they called in and said that the brake wouldn't work on it was cable run. So I took another jump, a tapered drum and put in there. And I went on about my business, and that night when I got in, they said, still won't lift the can. So I knew then that the outside was worn, and I went in and got another one that had been built up for that, went out and put it on, and the scraper was still loaded, and I let it down. And done 2 or 3 other things that I had to do, and the oiler said, he was my oil and got done, and he said, gosh, do you mind if I go home? It was illegal to be one person alone. And I said, no, all I got to do is just change this drum. And
Oh, sure, it's no big deal. I can do that by myself, right?
yeah. And I got up on that cat, and I don't know whether I slipped. This part I don't know what happened, but I grabbed that lever and pulled it out, and that cable run that into the shiv. Pretty soon the watchman come around, and I told him, I said, start that cat, run that thing back out of there. And he wouldn't do it. He didn't know nothing about it. So we went and got a couple of guys, and they're both drunk.
Uh-oh, that is a bad story.
And
there you are, pinned by 2 fingers to the cat.
standing up there, and my jackknife was in this pocket, and I couldn't reach it. And so these guys come over, and they'd never started a cat, and I told them how to start it. And I said, at that time a cat had a starting motor, and then you started the starting motor and then started the master motor. The first thing I told them, I said, pull the master clutch in. Well, just as soon as they got the starting motor started, they started turning the other motor, and I yanked the lever on the thing and rolled them back out. I started across the yard, and that watchman there, he was going to take me to the doctor. He looked at me and he said, they're not going to do you much good anymore, are they? And I said, no. He said, go over to my pickup and take my side cuts and cut them off.
Oh.
I thought he was going to faint right there. He wouldn't let me go. But you know, the guy that done that had been 22 hours in bed, and he got 4 hours sleep when they called him, and he came out, and he sewed that, and believe it or not, there was no palm in that hand at all. And he sewed, and he sewed, and he sewed.
Well, you know, your story is incredible because here you are, this master gardener, and you didn't need...
No, now you got to take that back. There is no such... I got a little Mexican friend, and we discussed that here a while ago, and he said there's one master gardener.
Ooh, I like that. Peggy, is this guy, he's everything you told me he was.
Oh, I can lie better than most people.
Spin some yarns about him.
Well, I know whenever you go out there, you never find him, but if you holler or we go around through the things that he has growing there, you usually find him down there in the garden someplace.
Or in the greenhouse.
Yeah, he's always working.
Always working. Well, now, I learned about you from my friend Bob Black, and he thinks you're very special. He just really does. But Peggy does too, and when I get a couple people agreeing, so why don't you brag a little bit about yourself?
Ain't got nothing to brag about. I'm just me.
And everybody that knows him loves him.
Oh no, you want to get out to our place sometime at night when them buddies of mine get in there.
Oh, well, we won't talk to the buddies. They're really the feisty kind, huh? Tell me about the story. You have a couple of stories you want to tell us. Because he spins yarns. I mean, you just stop for green beans and you end up with a basket full of stories.
Well, I'll tell you one that's a little hard to believe. I worked for the Canadian government on the Jasper Lake Louise Highway, driving team.
Team? Like?
Horses, 1934.
And
And we're quite an elevation there, right at 7,000 feet. And a horse is a little touchy at that altitude. So every night, one of us would go down. There was 4 of us banded together, and we'd go down and check all 4 teams. And you only went down every 4th night. And it was my night, and it was black, oh, dark, just dark than the devil. And we was way back in the sticks. You didn't go around with your flashlight in hand, and they didn't have any. The only lights they had was gasoline lanterns. The old Coleman lantern. And so I was walking down there, and I was walking down a path that run straight from the bunk shack to the barn. And there was another path that come down from out of the timber to the garbage dump.
uh-huh.
And I was walking down there, and I got about where the roads crossed, and there was something told me there was something wrong. I pulled my flashlight out of my pocket, looked down here on this side, and there was a bear standing there, about that far away from me, just standing there.
Oh.
Turned around and looked at the other side. What do you think I seen? 2 cubs.
Oh.
And you were standing between Mom and her cubs.
Oh.
She didn't make any noise, didn't make no fuss about it, and I walked off, and I guess she went. But you know, when I come to that crossing after that, I always had my flashlight in my hand.
I'll just bet.
Oh.
A bear story. You know, this is famous. Peggy, you've got a bear story too, right? Your great uncle, grandfather, what was he? Great
No.
was on Kincaid. I know that's the name of the guy. Was on the same hunting trip
Is that Howard?
with,
No, that he's farther down the line.
Oh.
with Elijah Davidson the day that Elijah went in by himself, right?
Well, you know, I've discussed this with family, and I'm not so sure that my story was correct.
Oh, I liked
See,
it.
that's why Barney and I are good friends.
Well,
No, my story, bear story, was that one where that old mama bear saw us, and she told her cubs to get up a tree, and boy, they looked at her, and she just kind of went woof, and they went up the tree, except the one, and he was lollygagging around on a limb, and she slapped him, and he went up the tree, and as soon as we left, she watched, made sure we left, and then when we got away from there, she told the babies to come on down, let's go.
wow. Well, that is different than the Oregon cave story, which your great-grandfather was part of the tours.
My grandfather.
Back before there was ticket takers and money takers. So people just come along, they'd hike all the way in, and then they'd say, oh, we'll pay you. We'll pay you. You can prove that he was there, right?
Well,
Inns.
yeah, he has his name, but I don't know. I've heard so many stories, and everybody's got a different one, so I'm here to say I have no idea. I'm not going to get out on a limb and saw it off.
We know he was a guide.
Oh, definitely for years, yes.
And not everybody got real honest about what they said they'd pay. Have you been through the Oregon caves?
2 or 3 times.
What do you think? Bet you didn't know her grandpa had carved his initials.
No.
They're, what do you call it, iced over with
Whatever it is.
Well, stalagmites?
It's the same thing that makes your stalactite. It's I guess, a lime. And it takes years and years and years and years to build them up.
So you look for this Kincaid name, and there it is. The boys used to go in and do, before there were guides, they were guiding. Now you got another story, Barney, about green beans, or?
Don't know anything about green beans,
Well-
only I don't like them.
You don't. Well, what do you grow out there?
Now that's just a little bit hard to say what I grow. Every spring I always have something new.
Is it the Burpees catalog you go through, or?
Some ways has got the best catalog I think you get, but nowadays I generally just buy them local because either they're so doggone expensive you buy them on.
And there's good stuff around. Go down to Chet's or go down to.
You know, they used to have an old lady there, Chet's, years ago. I can't even remember her name, but that was the best old lady. If you want garden stuff, go ask her. She just shut everything down and come tell you about what you should plant and what plants you should have, and what you should buy. And this one, you don't want this one. It's too small a package. Boy, I'll tell you, she was a doll.
Well, she only worked there for 30 or 40 years, I think.
About that long.
And I had the privilege of interviewing her here on Better Life Television. Maybe we should rerun that show right after yours so people see what real gardeners. She did have a knack, didn't she?
Oh, she was a doll. I used to pester her just starting something silly with her just to see what she'd say.
Audra Clellan is her name. And she just started Chet's. It used to be a feed and seed store, a grocery store. And
on G Street.
Yeah, and she said, what if we had a few plants, maybe in the springtime? And he said, fine. Well, they were gone in a day or two, and Chet said, you know, I'll build a table and you can bring in more plants. And so help me, that turned into really a major, major thing for us all here in Grants Pass. Now, Peggy, you're a great gardener. What's your claim to fame? Oh, chickens, I know, but what else?
Are we referring to when I was a little fella at home, or?
Any time at all.
Yeah.
At home, you did 2 acres of garden?
Yeah.
Because the family.
Oh, all the country folk had big gardens, everybody out there. I mean, that was just what we planned on eating during the winter, so.
That and venison.
Mm-hmm. Oh, we had venison year round. Even the sheriff went with us.
We won't mention the sheriff's name, but that's.
Oh, that's so far back in antiquity that he's been gone for eons.
Now, your place was a homestead? Is that right?
Yeah.
On Kincaid Road?
Part of a homestead.
You know, I just looked down and Barney has on these nice Oxford kind of shoes, real dressy little things, and I said, tell me about those. And he said, no, I like my boots, right? Why do you like your boots?
Try welding sometime and you'll know.
You're a welder. What happens to welders if they have...
If you have these things on, you'll burn your feet. Sparks.
Spoken by a true veteran. You know, your hat, is that also part of the... Oh, there's hair under there.
I wouldn't have any idea where that come from.
Barney, how did you meet old Peggy?
Well, he knew my husband for years.
I don't know how I met her. It's been a kind of an ordeal, even admitting it.
Okay, now we can hear Peggy's side. Has it been an ordeal?
It's been an ordeal. No, Barney is without a doubt one of the nicest people I have
she can tell
ever
you the
met.
awfulest stories.
No, there isn't a word in the vocabulary that everything is great.
Now, Peggy, when you stop by Barney's, you wouldn't know it's a vegetable stand unless you read real carefully that sign about milepost 2 on Murphy Stage Road. I'm sure it has another name now. It's even got a number.
It's Williams Highway.
238?
2798.
How Williams Highway got into the name of that Murphy Stage Road, I don't know, but I guess it does go clear out there and past.
Well, I think if you live in Provolt, it's the Provolt Road. Williams, the Williams Road.
Because it does go right by Provolt.
I don't know. You know, I was thinking back. They must have just been working on the road. I remember when I was a little bitty kid, the road from Grants Pass out to Murphy was just nothing but dirt. And I assume that was just, they were tearing it up and fixing it. I think it goes back farther than that with asphalt. What do you think, Barney?
There was no asphalt at that time. I don't think there was any asphalt between, we lived a little closer to Grants Pass then than we do now, or about the same. And I walked back and forth, but I don't think there was any asphalt on it then. It was just a dirt road.
I know New Hope Road was just nothing but corrugated dirt. You just drive across there and
God, it was just a country road.
Sure, all of them were.
But I don't think Murphy Road had any asphalt on it at all.
Lots of the roads around Southern Oregon, you know, potholes, you just kind of got used to them. Ruts in the road. Oh my, the stories I hear about the mud and trying to get the team through those. There are stories, you've got other stories. Aren't as sad as the finger story, although that speaks very, very well for you. And that kept you out of the military.
And the guy done a job, look at that.
No pains, no nothing, huh?
No, everybody, oh, you hit me in my finger, oh, just something terrible. That boy knew what he was doing.
And he'd had 4 whole hours of sleep?
4 hours, it'd been 22 hours of work and 4 hours of sleep.
Oh my.
And he was, I don't know how long he was on that. Quite a little while.
And it's never slowed you down?
No.
You can,
While it was down, I put in a sewer for a house and roofed the house and built a chicken house. I was off about a month with that.
oh, you didn't dilly-dally, I bet.
No use.
What do you do in your spare time?
Yeah, yeah.
Listen to you.
Well, then you're getting smarter. Can't help but get smarter listening to me.
Oh, folks, I asked Peggy to be the co-host on this program about 6 years ago, and she said, no. I missed her. I missed her. She knows so much about this and such fascinating friends. Barney?
Yeah, Bob Black is kind of fascinating, ain't he?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'll tell you, we are so lucky. People who, from Roseburg, clear down to Wairika, from the coast clear over to Klamath, and on beyond that. Do you have a wartime story you could tell us?
The man said no.
The man
I
said,
tried to get in the Army Engineers. I tried to get in the Seabees. And they both turned me down, and then they called me took me up and fed me and run me through a examination. And they had 15, 20 of us lined up there. And you put your hands up and wiggled your fingers, and he passed me, and I went down to the commanding officer, and he said, any physical defects? And I just laid my hand down on the counter, and they said, not unless you call one. And he looked at his book, and he said, no more than 2 joints off of one member. I don't bother you pulling on left hand. I could pull a gun with that.
of course you could, but
And then he said, maybe the Navy will have something to do. The Navy man sat right there. He said, grabbed a thing and slapped it down there, and it said, rejected.
boy, they don't know what they rejected, the jewel here.
And when we worked in the company worked for, we got the Navy E for excellent. We done quite a lot of work for them. Got the Navy E for it.
And that shows them. Now, you say you never wore gloves. I guess your hands tell me you never needed them. You're as tough as nails. Yeah. Oh, ouch, ouch. Yeah, she could break my fingers too. What's your plans for this year's garden?
Same as it was last year.
Okay.
Ain't going to have one.
You're not going to have a garden?
Oh, I've done that for 35, 6 years.
Oh, I thought you said you weren't going to have one. I thought,
Well, that's my plan right now, you know. But I'm having trouble keeping from planting tomato plants already.
what is it that happens every year that we have to get out there and get to rooting around in the ground?
No, my plan this year is to grow a tomato in a bucket and let it.
Will it go a garland, hanging tomato bank?
Well, I'm going to make two. I'm going to put one. I'm going to start the plant and then put it in. Have a hole in the bottom of the bucket and put him in from the bottom. Then I'm going to plant one on the top on the next one and let him drape down over the top, just to see what he'll do. If he don't do nothing, I ain't lost nothing.
No, but we can go to the county fair and see it. Will you
The
show?
county used to belong to, well, it still belongs to the Fruitdale Grange. In fact, I'm a 60-year member.
60 years with the Fruitdale Grange.
Yeah.
And you were part of what Grange, Peggy?
Just the Williams Grange.
The Williams Grange. Oh, so many stories about Grange halls and Grange hall dances. And during the war, they supported the community, right? Peggy tells a story about Depression time, making quilts together. Is that right? Mattresses?
Mattresses, yeah.
Well, Barney, it's just been my pleasure to know you. I'll see you again.
No, thank you.
I'll see you this summer in the vegetable garden. We'll go out and pick corn, and I'll rush home to the boiling kettle of water. And
Mama said you had the water boiling when you picked the corn. I had the best wife in the world.
And if she said it, you believe it. So folks, enjoy the corn this summer, but plant it early in the spring. Thanks for tuning in to Journeys and Journals and going farming with us today. Thanks, Peggy, for bringing Barney along.
My pleasure.